Hello, everybody. Welcome to another lecture of uh, DC machines. We'll quickly recall about what we have learned in the last lecture of DC machines. In the last lecture, we have discussed about generating and motoring actions of a DC machine. As per Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, an EMF will be induced in a coil if there is relative motion between the field and the coil. This is generating action. On the other hand, if a current carrying conductor moves in a magnetic field, it experiences a force, that is Lorentz force. This is motoring action. Now the question arises whether generator has only generating action and motor has only motoring action. The answer is big no. Both the actions are available simultaneously in generator and in motor as well. We'll go through back EMF and counter torques. In a motor, Lorentz force will be developed on a current carrying conductor if it is placed in a magnetic field, the direction of which is given by Fleming's left hand rule. If a conductor is mounted on a cylindrical rotor which is free to rotate, this force will drive the conductor, producing motor action. You can see the figure. Now, this is Fleming's left hand rule. Now this rotation of existing conductor in a magnetic field creates a relative motion between the conductor and the field, and EMF will be induced as per Faraday's law, which is generator action. This direction of this EMF is given by Fleming's right hand rule, that is right hand rule. So both motoring as well as generating actions are produced in a motor. Basically, मोटर हो या जनरेटर हो, दोनों में दोनों एक्शन होते हैं, मोटरिंग एक्शन भी और जनरेटिंग एक्शन भी, क्योंकि वो जनरेटर जिसमें ईएमएफ इंड्यूस हो रहा था, ईएमएफ इंड्यूस होने के बाद कंडक्टर में करंट फ्लो हुई और करंट फ्लो होने के बाद ये करंट कैरिंग कंडक्टर एक मैग्नेटिक फील्ड में रखा हुआ है, तो क्या होगा, एक लॉरेंज फोर्स भी लगेगा, तो मोटरिंग एक्शन भी होगा और ऐसा ही मोटर में होगा. Now, the important thing in this literature is the EMF induced in the conductor due to generator action is known as back EMF in DC motor. See, it was a motor. In motor, no EMF is generated. In motor, you have supplied the power so that Lorentz force is developed and the rotor of the motor rotates. But as we have discussed, due to rotation, there is a relative motion between current carrying conductor and magnetic field. So EMF is induced. This induced EMF in a motor will be termed as back EMF. Remember this term. In a motor, EMF is induced, that is back EMF. Now another thing is counter torque, which will be developed in generator. A conductor rotating in a magnetic field creates a relative motion between the conductor and the field, and EMF will be induced as per Faraday's law, which is generator action. The direction of this EMF is given by Fleming's right hand rule. See, when there is a motor and there is a generator, you have to remember which law is applicable on that. Right hand rule is for generator and left hand rule is for motor. When the generator is at load, means current is flowing through the conductor of this generator. This current carrying conductor is placed in a magnetic field. Lorentz force will be developed on this current carrying conductor. The direction of this Lorentz force will be given by Fleming's left hand rule because this is the motor action. Now, this force will oppose the direction of rotation as per Lenz's law. Means this force which is developed due to some cause, it will oppose that very cause due to which it has developed. This force will create a torque in the direction which is opposite to the rotation of the rotor of generator. So both motoring as well as generating actions are simultaneously produced in the generator. Torque produced in a generator due to motoring action is known as counter torque. Now we'll quickly move to windings and parallel path. This is a very common term in DC, in the study of DC machine, the parallel path. Parallel path basically refers to the windings. So in this screen, you can see a DC machine having two projected poles. These projected poles are basically salient poles. Now, with these two poles, this is field winding wound on this pole, and in the middle, this is a rotor over which armature coil is wound. In a DC machine, field we are assuming that field is on stator and armature is on rotor. Carbon brushes are placed at the interpolar region. In this figure, carbon brushes are not shown. We'll show in the next figure. But the important thing is that carbon brushes are always placed on the axis which is perpendicular to the field axis. Now, there may be a number of coils in the armature of the machine. If there is a four-pole machine, there will be four number of coils also. There are two types of winding depending upon placement in slots and connection at commutator. These two windings are lap winding or wave winding. So there is a four-pole machine. We may take four coils in the armature for the sake of simplicity. We will see how these four coils can be connected in a way that once they become lap winding and in another instance they become wave winding. In this figure, you can have some basic idea about DC machine. There are four salient poles. These are field windings, and this is rotor in which slots are made in the periphery of rotor where conductor of armature windings are housed. This figure I have included to show you the brushes. See, there are four black rectangular pieces over this commutator. This hole is rotor, this is shaft, and these small blocks are commutator segment. And these brushes, see the brush axis. Brushes are along the interpolar axis. This is pole, and this place is interpole. So this interpolar axis, there are four poles, so four number of brushes will be there. Two on this axis and two on this axis. If this first pole will be N, then this has to be S, the third has to be N, and fourth has to be again N. In this figure, you can see the terminal box, commutator, brushes, armature conductors, this armature, field winding, pole, yoke. We'll discuss at the end about the construction features of this machine. Now, what is lap winding? See, we have four coils like this, four coils on armature. These coils are represented as their ends are represented as A dash, A double A, B double B, C double C and D double D. Now, in this figure, we have connected these coils in some certain manner. You can see quickly. Coil A double A is connected to coil B double B at a point double A double B. This is positive point, and these 4 points, 4 dots which are shown here, these 4 points are brushes, those brushes which are installed at interpolar region. So one set of brush will be positive and another set of brush will be negative. So see, this A double A coil is connected to positive terminal, B double B coil is also connected to positive terminal at BB. Now C double C coil is connected to positive terminal through CC terminal, and D double D coil is connected to positive terminal through DD terminal. Similarly, all 4 other ends are connected to the negative terminals of the brush. You can see here. You can also see that two opposite brushes are shorted here, so as to make only one set of brush. One set is positive, another one is positive, another is negative. Now the equivalent circuit of the second circuit is made in the third figure. There are 3 figures. The second circuit has been simplified in the third circuit to show you how these 4 coils are connected. See, at the right hand side there is a positive brush, at the left hand side there is a negative brush, and all these 4 coils are between positive and negative brushes. So in this arrangement of connections, what we have seen that from positive to negative there are 4 paths for the current to follow. So current will divide into these 4 paths. So number of parallel paths in this machine are 4. This is a 4-pole machine. 4-pole means 4 coils we have shown, and 4 paths are available for the current to flow. So what will happen? It means that armature current is divided into 4 circuits. Hence, there are 4 parallel paths in this type of machines, and this is lap winding. Number of parallel paths equal to number of poles in lap winding. In wave winding, this is another type of winding. See, in the earlier figure, we have disconnected coils from one terminal. One terminal is connected, another terminal is disconnected, so that we can rearrange the connections in certain way. This is another figure how we can connect this coil. See, AA dash is connected to D, CC dash is connected to B. Now, in this way, we have 2 parallel paths. You can see the figure. In the third figure, equivalent circuit of second figure is given. You can see that between positive and negative brushes, there are 2 paths. So current will follow these 2 paths. Now there were 4 poles in this machine, and we have 2 paths. The important thing is that in this wave winding, this is wave winding basically. There are 2 types of winding I have shown. Another in which number of parallel paths were equal to number of poles, and here number of parallel paths will be 2, irrespective of number of poles. कितने भी पोल हों, number of parallel paths wave winding में 2 होंगे. So this is summary. दो तरह की वाइंडिंग है, लैप वाइंडिंग और वेव वाइंडिंग। लैप वाइंडिंग में नंबर ऑफ पैरेलल पाथ इक्वल टू नंबर ऑफ पोल्स एंड वेव वाइंडिंग में नंबर ऑफ पैरेलल पाथ दो होंगे। Now we'll quickly go through parts of DC machine. Up till now, we have already learned about few most important parts of the DC machine. First is field system, which is normally on stator. Another is armature system, which is normally on rotor. Commutator and brush system is the third important part. Uh, uh, in fact, this is the most important part which differs DC machine from other machines. Let us have quick idea about other parts of the DC machine. So we have come back on the earlier figure. On the right hand side, I have written all the parts of this DC machine. See, this is stator body to provide the strength and to house all these things in it. Yoke, this is the yoke. Sometimes in some DC machines, yoke uh, is yoke and core are same. In some core is different, yoke is different. The core is basically in some machines it is casted, and in some machines it is made of thin stampings as in transformer. These are yoke also provides a return path to the flux. Now these are uh, salient poles. Over the salient poles, these are electromagnetic poles. When this coil is energized, it will become magnet. So over these poles, this is field winding, which provides main field to the machine. This is rotor body. Again, this is rotor core, which is made up of stampings. Over the periphery of rotor core, there are slots which house the conductors. These conductors cumulatively will make the DC winding, the armature winding. This is commutator. We have already discussed about commutator. It is the most important part of the DC machine. It is the rotating rectifier. This is the device which converts AC, which is induced in the machine, into the DC. There are several segments in the this commutator. Over this commutator, these are four carbon brushes. Carbon brushes are placed in on interpolar axis. To hold these carbon brushes, we have arrangements of brush holders and rocker arms, spring, all these things, and those rocker arms are fastened to the stator body. Then this is a shaft over which this rotor assembly is mounted. This shaft has to rotate freely, so at both ends ball bearings are mounted, and these ball bearings are housed in end caps or end covers, which are fitted to the motor. Now this is connection box.